now 2.5-point underdogs. So that is a 9 points of line movement. And Monday morning, we knew about all the defensive injuries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a 9-point line movement based, I think, off the Lamar news.
It's kind of fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's worth that.
Yeah, without him, they're in trouble, obviously. Look, they got the Texans and the Rams. The Rams, if Lamar's not in that game, you would think the Rams are just going to have a field day against that defense. So, and Cooper Rush, do they try to bring in Tyler Huntley? I don't know. He's available. Remember, he was a Pro Bowler there.
Is he available? I thought
he's on their practice squad.
Oh, I thought he did
where was he?
He was in Cleveland.
He was in Cleveland for a little bit.
Cleveland for that cup of coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
He would seem to be a more seamless transition, right, than Cooper Rush. I mean, Cooper Rush, that feels like a whole different type of offense.
Tony Romo thought he'd give him a spark.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush.
I mean, look, the good news is that if Cooper Rush is in there, you would assume it's going to be more Derrick Henry running the ball. But bottom line, 1-5 is now very much on the table. Fortunately for them, they have a bye after the Rams. So if Lamar misses even 3 weeks, he could be back for that Bears game. That Bears game, Nick, I'm saying that could be the season. Let's assume Lamar is back and let's assume they're 1-5 and Lamar gets back. If they lose that game to the Bears, it's pretty much over. Because 1-6 to run the table, I think the division's going to be tough to run the table in.
Yeah.
Cincinnati's obviously going to be not tough, but Cleveland's a tough out. And Pittsburgh, their defense is playing well. And that's always a good game. They're always tough. So
you don't want to go into. Can we throw that back up there?
I'll say, my point about the Bears is this: if they lose to the Bears, obviously they'd be 1-6. But then it's also beyond the record. It's like, well, a lot of these teams could beat you if the Bears are going to beat you. Yeah. And so I think that could be a critical game if they
So just leave this up for a second. Because I'm not going to be maybe as fatalistic about this as people would expect.
I'm not
and I don't know where Wild is going to be. What I am going to say though is this. You cannot go into that right-hand column, week 13, having to run the table. You're not going 6-0 in that column. Like even if Cincinnati is packed up shop for the year, the Steelers are no matter who's playing quarterback for them, a tough matchup for Baltimore. The Patriots, I think, are a decent team that will be getting better as the year goes on, one would think. Yep. And the Packers are legit. You can't, you know what I mean? So I understand that you could be, in theory, 5-6 going into your you know what I mean there, and be like, well, 11-6 is going to get in. You're not going 6-0 in the final, you know what I mean, 6 weeks of the year. With that said, I think they can beat Houston without Lamar. I think that one of the downsides for like this week's discourse of the Texans Ravens game is going to be that no one watched Texans Titans. But
it wasn't 26-0.
Correct. That game was 6-0 in the fourth quarter, where it looked like every Texans game has looked. Yep. The defense looks really good, and the offense is awful. Now, CJ, to his credit, played really well in the fourth quarter, and maybe they got something going. But I know you said yesterday, like the Ravens are a get-right team for teams' offenses. In the Ravens' defense, we have seen them torn up by what I believe to be three of the best offenses in football. I know the Chiefs weren't, but I think they will be. The Lions obviously are. The Bills obviously are. And
it's interesting. I'm not going to try to spend too much time on trying to do the whole math game. You know, we can look at the schedule. Let's just get this out of the way. This is devastating to have Lamar miss any amount of time. I mean, we can try to play the whole game of like, well, with Cooper Rush and Dirk, I mean, you just don't know. Lamar is such an absolute force of that offense that the offense fundamentally changes in a way that it really doesn't for any other team out there. So I do that I think a game like the Texans is a must-win because it's technically going to be one of the more winnable games right now with the bagged-up roster that the Ravens have. Before we get too far into it, though, again, please do not forget to subscribe, And please don't forget to watch this video in its entirety, as it is the best possible way to support this channel. We really are creating an avalanche right now, and it's just the most remarkable thing to see. I won't waste any more time, but just please do it. It is the best way to help the growth and to firmly root this channel in the sports talk world. It is we, not me. And I really do believe that. But now, back to the conversation with the Rams. That's obviously going to be a really tough game. Like, I'm not even looking at it just now from Lamar. Just Lamar. It's just this team is really banged up. This team is really banged up. The defense is really banged up, obviously, and now you don't have Lamar. So it's just like, what are the games that you think that when you're a mess, let's just say, I'm just using that word very loosely. You're a mess. Team is a mess. Everyone's banged up. No one knows what's going on. Vibes are low. Like, this is a mess. This is a mess. This is a mess. It's all hands on deck from the coaching staff to be like, we got to find a way to pull off some wins here. We got, we got to be the Cincinnati Bengals pulling off a win with a Jake Browning, right? Like, we got to find a way to somehow just make this just even remotely a winnable game. Carson Wentz against, I forget what team it was now already. I think it was against the Bengals when they played, when they won with Carson. So here, though, that's where the Texans enter. This is where the Bears and the Dolphins in this immediate 4-game window that you have the Texans, the Bears, and the Dolphins. Really just, pretty much chalking up the Rams to a loss right now, unfortunately. But the Texans, the Bears, and the Dolphins. And in a lot of ways, it's like you got to go to, because we don't really know when Lamar's coming back, I understand it's 2 to 3 weeks. We just don't know. What about the other defensive players right now? When Lamar does come back, is he just does he come back against the Bears and now it's just like, oh, Lamar hasn't missed a beat, right? He's out there running and doing everything. Is he more conservative? We just don't have any idea. So that's why I'm just kind of taking this immediate 4-game. And it's just like you gotta win at least 2 of those games. I see it as you gotta win at least 2 out of those 3. Specifically the Texans, Bears, and Dolphins game. Minnesota Vikings, that will be a tough game no matter who the quarterback is. I mean, maybe if they're kind of playing this game with like, hey, let's see JJ McCarthy. Carson Wentz has been not too bad, but we think we could be better with JJ, right? Like, then that potentially becomes easier or harder depending on the quality of quarterback play. The Browns, I understand that the Browns are a division rival and they have a tough defense and this, that, and the third. But you know what? By week 11, if it's not all hands on deck right now, you've already ripped off a bunch of losses. If you can't rise to the occasion and beat the Browns, well, that's a serious problem for the Ravens. And then you're going up against the Jets. The Jets are an absolute they're just a terrible team. There's just no way else to look at it. And the Cincinnati Bengals with Jake Browning, again, if you can't find yourself 2 wins there, I don't know what to tell you. And I understand that the Patriots are feisty and whatnot. Again, if you can't pull off a win, it's week 16, the New England Patriots. I understand, hey, Drake May is looking better and Vrabel's going to get this defense going, et cetera, et cetera. But again, if you can't pull off those wins, well, then you're not a good team then. And if you're not a good team, then it's like, who cares if you were able to find your way into the playoffs? You're just not a good team. So it's just like, the Ravens are very much like, can we win the Super Bowl? Yes or no? Like, that's what it all gets boiled down to. It's not like, hey, let's just try our best to have a good season. We're going to compete to try to win the division, and hopefully we can win a playoff game. That'll feel good. There's no feel good about it. It's, are you competing? Are you beating the Bills and the Chiefs in the playoffs? Like, that's what it gets reduced down to. So, it's just not good right now for the Ravens. And this is what happens when you drop a game like against the Bills that you had in the bag. You lose your wiggle room. You lose your wiggle room. Even a game against the Detroit Lions that was clearly very much a winnable game. It's just like when things start to kind of unfold, like against the Chiefs, and now dealing with these injuries. And it's hard to see necessarily a win against the Rams, especially with a backup quarterback and a banged up defense. You're just like, we have no room now. Like, we have to beat a team like the Texans. We have to beat the Bear. We have to beat the D. You have to win every single game that you are 1,000% supposed to win. And it's the difference between making the playoffs and not. And maybe you pull off wins against the Steelers. I mean, I don't know. Again, it all depends on what does this team look like right now, how healthy. And at this point, I can't predict what the Ravens are going to look like by week 14 or week 18 because they're so banged up just entering week 5 right now. They were so banged up entering week 4. So I can't be like, oh, well, by then they're going to be a lot healthier. I have no idea. This team is bagged up, completely banged up. Their quarterback is bagged up. And I have no idea what version of Lamar were, hamstrings linger. And they are easily re-aggravated. And considering the type of player that Lamar Jackson is, re-aggravation risk is going to be high. It's going to be a lot higher for him than it is going to be like a Jared Goff or something. So it's just a tricky situation. It's a really tricky situation. If I go through the easy wins, the wins that you have the best possible chance to win out of all the other games, it's like I count 7. And it doesn't mean you're guaranteed to win them. But, they're theoretically, when we rank all the other games that you're playing, you have 7 chances that you really got to pull off wins. And if you don't, whether Lamar's there or not, whether the defense is injured or not, you're like, all right, this is not going to go well, which would then give you 8 wins. So 8 wins are on the table. You got to be able to find those extra 2 wins or so, right? You got to make sure, the Vikings are pretty feisty right now. This defense is great, and Carson Wentz is looking really good right now. Or J.J. McCarthy's looking really good, right? He's settled in, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, well, find a way to win. The Steelers, it's like Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, and that defense is cooking. They have a lot of momentum. Well, you got to split. You got to at least win 1 game. You got to split with them. Right? Like that's really just what it gets boiled down to. You got to take care of every game you're supposed to win. Dolphins are a mess. Gotta win, right? Like it's just the Browns. Okay, great. Defense doesn't matter. Gotta win. And then those in between games, game against Pack, you just then have to win a couple of those tough games, which is why Nick was saying, like, you're not going to run the table week 13 onward. It's like, well, you're trying to create the situation where it's just like, we just got to split against the Steelers and we just got to beat the Patriots and then we should be good, right? Like, then we should be, then we're in a position where it's like, yeah, we can lose to the Packers. Yeah, we can lose, we can drop a game to the Steelers. Whatever the exact order may be. Gives you some room to not have to be perfect. And that's why week 5 is a huge game, because you're either already putting yourself behind or you're able to be like, okay, we need this check on the list of all these games. This is a game that is more at the top of the list. But listen, I'm interested to see what C.J. Stroud and this offense looks like against this banged up Ravens defense. And look what the Texans defense does against a backup quarterback. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I think that this is an easy win for the Ravens. The Texans have been very disappointing. So it's really hard to have any type of confidence around the Texans. But once you have this many injuries, anyone who thinks that they can even remotely and reliably predict what's going to happen or how these teams are going to play, so many players are playing that we just have no true frame of reference of how good they are in the NFL. It's why they don't get a lot of playing time. And again, now you have a backup quarterback trying to predict how a backup quarterback will play. We've all been watching the NFL for a long time. We've seen backup quarterbacks ball out in moments. Cooper Rush was having a lot of success with the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, he was putting up the same numbers as Dak Prescott last year, and sometimes you just can't do anything. There's people who are trying to make the argument Jake Browning looks pretty good with the Bengals. And it's like, well, that ended very quickly. So it's just nobody has any idea what type of spark. That's why Romo said, it maybe can give a little bit of a spark because it happens all the time. But also the opposite happens all the time where you're just like, oh my gosh, how is this guy even in the NFL? Like he doesn't look like he should actually be a quarterback. Like it just doesn't look right. So you just never know what you're going to get in any given moment. So it's just so unpredictable. This is why I said it's all hands on deck for the coaching staff right now. It's all hands on deck to get this team ready, to get this team to believe that they can save this season. The Cincinnati Bengals did not have that. And that's what Jamar Chase was all upset about and was saying, it's never felt like we cared or like we had any belief that we could win. And I think that's a fair assessment. And it's up to Harbaugh and this offense to make sure that the Ravens don't feel that way, that they're doing the math and they're like, hey, we can win some games and we can get into the playoffs and we can make a run. We're just injured right now. That's it. We're just injured. Our defense is going to get healthy. Lamar's going to get healthy. We're going to be better. The Buffalo Bills are considered a top team, and we had them beat. We had them dead to rights. We are right there. The Lions are a top team. We are right there. We are banged up. We are not healthy. If we can just stay afloat and get healthy, yeah, then we can start ripping off wins week 10 onward. So let's just get after it. We need everyone to rise to the occasion, and so we're about to see the level of resilience and belief and the quality of coaching and the quality of coaching. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Baltimore Ravens? What does this mean for them? How do you feel about Lamar going down for the next 2 to 3 weeks? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So, whether you agree with me or disagree with me either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.